IELTS stands for International English Language Testing System. In this test, all they do is check your proficiency. You, by mean non-native speakers. Now, what is this proficiency test? Proficiency means checking how good you are in English. And by non-native, I mean people who are living in a country where English is not spoken as the primary language or the first language. Let me tell you and give you an example of countries such as Canada, Australia, US, New Zealand, such countries. There are total 8 countries. These countries have the first language as English. Apart from that, countries like India, China, and most of the Asian countries, African countries, South American or European, they don't speak English as their first language. They have it as second language or maybe third language. For them, it's must to write this test if they want to go to these countries. For example, I want to go to Australia to study, or let's say I want to go to Canada to work. Then I have to write IELTS so that I can show my proficiency. All right. Now, this test has been created by Cambridge University a long time ago. Well, year is not important. Important is to know that it was created by Cambridge University. What does it mean by that? And why do we need this information? See, Cambridge is in UK, and hence 80% of the English used in IELTS has British accent. Hence, I would recommend start watching British related movies or British accent movies. Most of the Hollywood movies are from US. Hence, you will see accent difference, and some of the answer might be incorrect, let's say in listening, because of that. All right, we'll see how to solve that problem later. But for now, let's start watching British accent movies. Okay. Moreover, there are types and categories in IELTS. There are 3 different things that you have to notice, 3 different types. Okay. Some of them are very important to take care of. Some of them are okay, you're fine with it. Some of them you can be cautious or you can be fine. So the first one, IDP and British Council. Let me explain what these things are. You might be hearing this a lot while you're registering for IELTS. Now, as I said, Cambridge created the test, and they, as a university, give responsibility to IDP and British Council to take the test in various countries. These institutes or agencies, you can call them their parts, take care of the test and conduct tests in countries like India, China, and any country. You are given option to choose IDP and British Council, and trust me, both are same. Now I'll tell you why there are many rumors, misconceptions, wrong information about this. Let's say I go for the first time to write IELTS. I write with IDP. I book my test with IDP and I don't get the required score. I'll say IDP is horrible, because I have another option, right? I'll say maybe British Council is better. Instead of accepting what did go wrong, I'll say IDP is wrong. Same for the person who goes for British Council and didn't get the score. They'll curse the British Council rather than their own problems, right? If I get in the first score, British Council score, that person will never say there's problem with British Council or IDP. So trust me, both are same. No difference. You can choose any of them, whichever the seat is available. Yeah. Please try to book at least 15 days before the exam. Don't worry about that. I'll talk about this in later sessions or class, because there we'll talk about how to book exams and all those stuff. Yeah. Now this was the first type. You don't have to worry. You can choose anyway. The second one, you do have to pay attention. What do you mean by pay attention? Listen, if you are planning to work abroad, then please go for general training. This is for work, immigration, or anything related, not to study, right? Here, if you want to study anything, graduation, post-graduation, PhD, any kind of course, go for academic. And hence, if in case, let's say, you go for general training instead of academic, you want to study but you take general training test, that's just wrong. They won't accept the score, and hence you wasted a lot of money in that. Please take care of this, otherwise there will be trouble later. You have to write the exam again. It doesn't matter how good score you get, this will be invalid if you do the otherwise academic or general training. So please take care of this while registering for the exam. If you have any doubt in this, you can definitely ask me in comments. I'll definitely let you know which one you should go for. I can help in that. Yeah. All right. The last one is paper and online. Now, what does it mean by paper and online? Earlier, the test was being conducted just paper test. That means paper and pencil. You have to write all the answer based on paper. You get a question paper, you get a pencil, you write the answer. But now, because every other test is online, so they are planning, or they already have started this, that they are taking tests online. I recommend, please go for paper. That is paper and pencil. The reason for that is from our first grade till all the time we have studied, even in a work, we enjoy writing in a paper. And we are habitual to that, right? Studying online is a bit of a trouble, I would say. Yeah, because there's a study conducted and said that 30% speed decreases while reading in a screen rather than a paper. That's the reason when you watch TV, when you watch videos and you read book, after the book sometime you try to go back to the video because you're really slow. But if you read from a book, it's fun and it's faster. So please go for paper and pencil. That's my recommendation. And these are the three types or three categories in IELTS. All right. After that, we have something important as well, which is scoring. How are you scored in IELTS? In IELTS, there's nothing like marks or anything like or points. We have bands. These are the final ones. Now, what is the meaning of these bands? All right, we'll see on that part itself. Bands is a name of a scoring system created by IELTS, or let's say Cambridge, where you are scored from 1 to 9, where 9 is the highest and 1 is the lowest. There's nothing like 0. 0 is when you didn't go or appear for the exam, right? You will get any score between 1 and 9. Depending on your situation or your requirement, you have to score according to that. If you score 9, that's well and good. It's highest. You don't have to worry about anything. Even 8, well and good. No worries. But there's one more. There's a catch. There are 4 modules in IELTS. That is listening, reading, writing, and speaking. If in case you score less in any of these, less compared to the requirement. So for an example, I'm a company who wants to hire someone from India. I'm staying in US, let's say. And I want you to come to US, and my requirement for my company is, let's say, 8 bands in listening, 7 reading, 7 writing, 7 speaking. In that case, what's going to happen? If you get 6.5 in writing, definitely you are not cleared the exam. You have to write the exam again. So module-wise score and overall score is required. So they might say something like 8 overall and not less than 7 in each. This is how they tell you what you require. I hope you understand what I mean by that. Yeah? Good. Now, there's one more thing that we must know about scoring. That is band and Zephyr. There's something called bands and there's something called Zephyr. They're different things and they're connected in a way which we don't know. Let me make you understand about that. If you look at Zephyr, it stands for Common European Framework as a reference for languages. It's a way to test the levels in the language. So there are 3 different levels. A level, you can call them A1 and A2, B1 and B2, and C1 and C2. So this is basic, intermediate, and advanced, right? Now, bands are created from 1 to 9. These bands respond to these levels. So for an example, 8.5 or 9 is considered C2. So hence 8.5 to 9 is considered C2. Above this, it's C1. So basically speaking, they are responding to these levels, which are official levels in Europe. If you are learning any other language apart from English, like German, French, there are levels to learn. For example, if you learn A1, you get some score in there, you write another exam. So you see, these are those levels, Zephyr levels. Band was created by, as I said earlier, Cambridge, so that it's easier for them to test others. Because these levels are actually very broad. They wanted something concrete. So these 1 to 9 are concrete. Moving ahead, if you look at here, we have listening and reading. We'll talk only about them for now. Moving ahead, we'll talk about other things, which are 4 modules. In these, we have 40 questions. Now, I'm not saying that I'm going to introduce these listening and reading right now. Only I'm talking about the scoring part. Okay. So we have 40 questions in both of them. These are similarities. And 1 point you get for one correct answer. So you get, let's say, you get 40 out of 40. Right? So this will be 9 bands. If you get 39 out of 40, you get 8.5 bands in reading. However, in listening, if you get 39 of 40 out of 40, you get still 9 bands. So there are some differences, but what I mean is one correct answer, 1 point, and hence 40 points you get. Out of 40, whatever you get, based on that, you get your band score. I hope you understand that. What I mean by this is listening and reading are like common in this, but writing and speaking have completely different criteria. So writing and speaking have something called 4 criteria. Now this criteria itself is a plural. We don't have to add s. The singular of criteria is criterion. There are 4 criteria for writing and speaking, and based on these criteria they test you and provide you bands. Now, I'll give you an example of each, one criterion of each. The first one, let's say your vocabulary or lexical resource. The better vocabulary you use in writing, the higher score you get in writing. This is one of the criteria, trust me. There are many, so there are total 4. In speaking, one of them is fluency. Yes, the more fluent you are, the higher score you get. So not just this, there are 3 more, as I said. When we combine them and test you, and they create your score. Okay, not just one person, many people check your paper, like total 3, and then they give you the score. See, I'm not saying that I am introducing writing and speaking completely. This is just to tell you how you are being scored. Now, what happens in writing, what happens in speaking is completely different issue. We'll see that later. Okay, this is just for the scoring purpose. Now, most of you must be thinking which book to go for. There are many books online. Please don't go for online material. They are horrible. They are literally horrible. The reason for them to be horrible is they are not connected to Cambridge, right? So the books they create, they are not exactly according to exam or the test. So you might be getting good score in the online material. You might be getting bad score in the online material. But the exact material that you need, we call them the best book. The best book is the official Cambridge Guide to IELTS. So there's a guide called Official Cambridge Guide to IELTS. This is, in my opinion, the best book. It has everything. Yeah. Second book that is required for practice is a series. It's called the Cambridge Practice Test for IELTS series. There's a series ranging from 1 to 14. The 14th is the latest. Please start from 9 till 14. Practice only these books. Now I'm going to provide you a link so that you can directly go and buy those books. These books are the best. You can purchase initially 2 to 3 books. That's it. Like for example, 12, 13, 14 or just 12 for your practice, and go for the official guide. That's enough. Along with this course and those books, it's enough. Trust me. Okay. Moving ahead, we have to know how many times can I book for the test? How many times is test being conducted? The frequency of the test. So there's a difference between academic and general training. Academic is conducted 48 times a year. However, general training is conducted 24 times a year. So you can say 4 times a month. Here it's, you guessed it right, 2 times a month. Not 12, sorry. So watch out for people who are writing general training. Seats are less compared to academic because it's only written 2 times a month. Okay. Now, of course, you must be thinking, how many times can I write IELTS? For example, I tried once and I didn't get the desired score. Can I write many times? No. Please don't do that. Of course, there is no set requirement. You can write as many times as you want, but I won't recommend it going to it immediately. That's what I mean by don't write many times continuously. Of course, let's say you didn't get the score. So your score requirement was 7.5 for your college or for your work, and you got 7. Now, just after 1 week of exam, there is the date coming. Don't go for that, because you didn't look into what went wrong, what went right, and what kind of module you need to practice. You just went there because you wanted the score again. Don't do that, please. Take time, evaluate yourself, ask me, ask your friends or anyone who has helped you in this. Look at the book, what went wrong, what went right. Okay, so that's what I mean. Please don't go for it immediately. It's the wastage of 13 to 14K in that whole process. And of course, you lose confidence, right? Good. I hope you understand that part. It's important. Now let's talk about the modules, the building block of the whole exam, right? Or the whole test. So there are 4 modules, as I said earlier, and they need to be evaluated in all the areas in English. For example, not for example, exactly, we have listening. Listening is that you hear some audio. Let me try my drawing. It's okay, I guess. So listening, you will be hearing audio for around 30 minutes. There will be breaks in middle, and there will be 40 questions in that. And based on these questions, I mean the audio, you will be answering questions. Of course, there will be break, as I said, but it might get a little bit difficult because the language is English plus accent is British. So there might be some trouble. So this is what happens in listening. You have to write the answer while you're listening to the audio in the question paper. Of course, this will be declared in detail in later, that for example, when we are understanding listening in detail, this is just a module as introduction. In reading, you will be given a question paper in which you will have some passages. This is a passage, let's say, and here we have questions. Of course, not on the same page, on other pages. You will have to read the questions and find the answer from the passages. This is what reading test is. Okay, it's not just reading. Okay, I had a friend, he said, oh, it's just reading, right? I can read fast. I'm like, it's not just reading, you have to find answers from the passages. And also, like listening, we have 40 questions. And remember, please, the sequence is always the same which I'm showing you. So listening comes first, then comes reading, and whatever the modules I'm going to show you. Sequence never changes in IELTS. Okay, then comes writing. In writing, we have two things to do: task 1 and task 2. There's a difference in academic and general training. For academic, you gotta write a report in part 1. For general training, you gotta write a letter. For part 2, you all have to write an essay. There's no difference in part 2. The total time will be 60 minutes, and yes, you have to write an essay. You heard it right. I don't remember when was the last time you wrote an essay. Well, if you ask me, it was like day before yesterday for my practice, just to check how it is. But most of us write essays in our school, not even college. College, we write exams, right? So it's a little bit weird and a difficult task in my opinion. So please practice this the most, writing. And the last one is speaking. This will be a formal interview or kind of a test. It will last for 11 to 14 minutes. Now I wrote it in the last, and I'm gonna draw a line here for a reason. Well, my line is horribly not straight. Now this part will be taken on a different day. What I mean by different day, this will be taken on the same day. So total time will be 2 hours and 45 minutes for the whole test. And this will be taken on a different day. That means plus or minus 5 days before or after this test. Let's say I have listening, reading and writing IELTS test on 25th of July. Then probably my speaking test will be anything between 20 to 25 or 26 to 30. So it could be 21, 22, 23, 24 or 27, 28, 29, 30, any of these. Now, how will I know when my test is? You will get a message on your phone, the registered phone on the website, of course a mail as well, and if you have any doubt, you can call the British Council or IDP wherever you booked your test. So this is what you can understand from speaking on a different day. It is the shortest one, and the venue, the date, the timing will be told. Please try to be a little bit early. I have seen people who have written these 3 tests on one day, and when this came, they couldn't reach. And of course, when you can't write one, they won't even give you score for this. So it's all gone. Try to be a little bit early based on what time they gave you. All right. So these are the 4 modules that you have to understand and write. Detailed will be in coming sessions. This is just a mini introduction, right, for you to understand. Now, once you write all the tests, that is speaking, after 13 days, you will get your score. And that will be online. That means you will get a registration number. You can check on their website. They'll tell you where to look for. And of course, you'll get a message or a mail that, oh, your result is out. Please check it. That will be wonderful to get an alert, right? If you want a hard copy, well, you can get it, but it will take some time, like 30 days. It will be sent to you by a post, and you can just, send it to anywhere as a copy. But remember, you will get first online, and then you'll be sent hard copy. I hope I'm clear about this. Any doubt about the structure or the IELTS or result, please write in the comments, or you can ask me through the mail ID which I provided in my details. Yeah, you can message there. And last but not the least, the passport. See, I have seen plenty of the people crying after some time because of passport. And why does that happen? I'll tell you. It is a must for registration of IELTS. So let's say I'm going for registration of IELTS and I have all the details filled, and they say, please fill your passport number. And I say, I don't have a passport. They say, please remember, you cannot write the test. The reason for that is simply, without a passport, how would you go abroad? And you're writing a test for abroad. So they don't allow you to write IELTS without passport. Now, why did I say many people have messed up? So let's say my test is in the next month of 25th. I tried booking on 5th of the same month, and I recognize I have no passport. Yeah, what's gonna happen? I'll go to the agency, or I'll go to the where we can get passport service, and they'll say it's gonna take some time to get passport. Now you have 2 options: either give up or pay more to get the passport, like you might get in 4 days. And by that time, you might miss your seat in IELTS exam. So please do it right now. If you're planning to write IELTS soon, get your passport ready so that we can register easily. Okay, and this was the end of your session.